Let's turn now to NBC's Andrea Mitchell, who is standing by in our Washington, D.C. bureau. Andrea, let's begin with a bulletin. We're hearing that Iran has now moving to seal the border with Afghanistan in order to basically slow the influx of refugees who are, of course, fleeing from Afghanistan into countries around Afghanistan. What can you tell us about that?
Well, just on the face of it, the sourcing is an Iranian news service, which means official government announcement, picked up by Reuters, which is very well established overseas. That said, we don't know the exact context. It may well be that Iran is protecting itself domestically from any hostile forces, terrorist forces or Taliban experts Taliban members who are in Afghanistan and trying to get out before some action is taken, military action taken by the United States. So it could be helpful to Iran, not only domestically, but it also could be that Iran is cooperating with the United States by sealing its borders and making sure that bin Laden and his other cell members, his other group members, are not able to get out. We need to do a little bit more checking on this, but this does raise a number of intriguing possibilities. Earlier today at Camp David, Colin Powell announced that Pakistan, after a national security meeting in Islamabad this morning, had agreed to U.S. demands to cooperate, to do everything that we had asked. What had we asked? We had asked that they seal their borders, not permitting bin Laden and others to escape from Afghanistan. We had also asked that they not provide any fuel or other resources to Afghanistan, and that we provide their airspace for our military strikes. All very, very important for a number of reasons, not only militarily, but also that it will also mean more intelligence sharing from Pakistan with the United States, and Pakistan is one of only 3 nations in the world that have ongoing relations, diplomatic and other relationships with the Taliban. This is a great risk to the leaders in Pakistan. They have not always been friendly with the United States, and they will face a great deal, likely, of domestic dissent for taking this action. So they're at risk, but it will at the same time relieve them of a huge debt burden, because we are promising them financial support and probably military support as well. So that's where we stand on the diplomatic front today. There's also been a big development on the investigative front, which is that the Justice Department has announced on the record that 25 people are being held on immigration civil arrest charges. So that means they are being held for questioning in relationship to the terrorist action on Tuesday. This is a convenience, if you will, for law enforcement officials. They can hold someone for as long as 72 hours before bringing them in front of a judge. It permits them to question these people. They can't get lawyers. I mean, this is the reality. But they are probably working very, very hard to get information from these people who are being held. They are under civil arrest under an administrative procedure of the INS. In addition, there is one person so far in this investigation that we know of that the Justice Department has confirmed is being held under a criminal arrest warrant. He is a pilot who was arrested at JFK Airport, traveling as a passenger, believed to be of Middle East origin, and they're questioning him because he was carrying some false documents. So those are the numbers of people who have been held. Now, one other thing, Soledad, if we have a minute, there are also 2 men of the 25 who are under INS detention who were picked up under very suspicious circumstances. These 2 men, Middle East origin, had boarded a flight in Newark prior to the hijacking and prior to the terrorist actions on Tuesday morning. They were flying from Newark to San Antonio. Their plane, once the disaster took place, TWA flight, was diverted to the TWA hub in St. Louis. They took a train, were then acting very suspiciously. They are now being questioned by the FBI back in New York. Soledad?
She's Andrea Mitchell. And Andrea, obviously, as you say, the investigation is only just beginning, and the diplomatic negotiations with the countries that surround Afghanistan is going on as well. Thanks very much for that update. We'll be checking in with you a little bit later on as well.